During Elijah's time, there were many prophets in Israel, but Elijah was chosen for a particular mission. He was the prophet of confrontation, called to stand publicly against idolatry, and to call a nation back to God. God had given him a specific assignment during one of Israel's darkest spiritual periods, yet Elijah often felt as though he had been forgotten and left alone. Sometimes our lives feel very similar. Troubles surround us. We try to follow God's path, yet difficulties seem to increase. We begin to think, am I the only one left standing? Has God forgotten me? After the great victory on Mount Carmel, Elijah felt the same way. The prophet who stood boldly before hundreds of false prophets became afraid when Jezebel threatened his life. In his fear and exhaustion, he believed he was alone. But God showed Elijah a reality he could not see. There were 700 prophets, hidden in caves. God had already prepared protection for them. Through Obadiah, a steward in King Ahab's palace, in the middle of a corrupt and wicked government, Obadiah remained faithful to God. He hid 50 prophets in one cave and 50 in another, reducing the risk of losing them all. If one hiding place was discovered during famine and danger, he brought them bread and water, risking his own safety for the sake of God's people. While Elijah stood in public, God was quietly working in secret places and preparing the way for the next step. When God uses one person publicly, he is often working through many unseen hands behind them, in the background, guiding and directing. God never abandons his people. In their dark seasons, he is always working even when we cannot see. Even before Elijah's ministry ended, God had already prepared Elisha. He was not among the 700 prophets in the caves. He was simply a man behind a plow in a field. Living his life while Elijah was worrying about the future, God was already preparing the next chapter. Later, during Elisha's ministry, there were many sons of the prophets, yet God chose to work through Elisha as the main prophetic voice for that generation. And like Elijah, we often see only the threat of Jezebel, and that can be overwhelming. But God sees the prophets in the caves, the faithful servant in the palace, and the future servant in the field. Jezebel may have thought she controlled Elijah's future, but she forgot that her own future was in God's hands. People may seem powerful for a moment, they may speak loudly and make many plans, but the ending of the story belongs to God. If we remain under his hand, we are never abandoned, no matter what we may feel. The God who protected the prophets in the caves, sustained Obadiah in the palace, strengthened Elijah in the wilderness, and prepared Elisha in the field, is still working today, often in ways we cannot yet see. Our eyes may see loneliness, we may feel isolated, but faith learns to trust that God sees a much bigger picture. Amen.